Today, I'm going to be unboxing, setting up, and doing a demo of the Spirit Halloween 2023 Darling Dolly Animatronic. For everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and welcome to yet another Halloween 2023 animatronic unboxing, setup, demo, and review video. Today I have the Spirit Halloween 2023 Darling Dolly animatronic, and I am very excited for this one because in my opinion, this may be the creepiest animatronic that we got for Halloween 2023, and I know a lot of other people are saying that as well. Darling Dolly is definitely one of the most popular animatronics of Spirit Halloween 2023, and I know she is also a very large animatronic, but as you can see, Darling Dolly has a pretty large box with her being a 7-foot animatronic. You can see very nice stock photo of Darling Dolly on the front here. This is the position she's in after she lurches downward with her awesome animation, which I should mention is another one of the big selling points for this animatronic, but it just says Darling Dolly, how she stands 7 feet tall, everything like that. Over on this side, you can see the single stock photo of her in the raised fully standing position with those blue LED eyes before they change over to the red LEDs when she lurches downward. Then over on the back here, we have her name, her backstory, and her price tag of $279.99, 280 United States dollars, which by the end of this video, you'll know whether I think she's worth that price tag or not. And then over on this side, you just have the two rectangular box images that we've been seeing on new prop boxes showing the blue LED eyes and the red scary ones that happen once again when the animation takes place. But very large box for Darling Dolly. I will say she's being manufactured by Techie Design, and I've heard her quality is actually very, very good. Taking the tape off and opening it up, we actually, first thing I'm seeing is the instructions are actually taped to the box. I know Techie has been doing this year. You can kind of see her instructions there with the red LED eyes. Also some pieces are starting to show as well. Here is our really good first look into Darling Dolly's box. Like I said, the instructions are right on top here. First up, we have one of Darling Dolly's arms. This thing is awesome. Now, I mean, this thing is really up to interpretation of what you think Darling Dolly is. Is she a doll monster? Is she a creature in the woods? I don't really know, but I know her arms look like tree limbs, and this thing looks so creepy. She does have posable fingers, obviously, and you were meant to pose them far apart so they look like actual hands. You can also see the creepy cloth. This thing is really, really cool looking. That is the first piece out of the box. The second piece is her other arm. This one's basically the same, just the opposite arm. Alright, so let's take this cardboard slip out to get the rest of the pieces out of the packaging here because they are zip tied. Here we have one of the biggest pieces of Darling Dolly, and this is the whole shoulder frame, the dress, and the connection for the head on here with that circle for the neck to make it the kind of very creepy looking elongated neck piece. But as you can see, super big dress for Darling Dolly because she's 7 feet, so this piece is huge. Here we have the control box with the attached pole that you use to connect to the body, and this is a white Techie control box. Alright, I guess we'll take this piece out next. This is Darling Dolly's head inside of this cardboard box here. We will see our first look at Dolly's head. Obviously, it is just a doll face with the hair, and this will be our first look. Alright, so there's Darling Dolly's head in the plastic packaging. I actually think this also has the clothing for the neck. So, can't really see it just yet because the hair might be tied up. It is in a hairnet. But let's get Darling Dolly's head out of this plastic bag. And here it is, our very first look at Darling Dolly's face. Look at that. The cracked doll face with those LEDs for when they turn on, the lips. Let's get the hairnet taken off so that the hair can kind of flow down. It actually goes really along the entire head, this net here. This thing looks so creepy. This is definitely one of the things that helps her with the creepy look that Darling Dolly has. Just take a look at that. Darling Dolly up close. I will say the material is actually not what I expected it. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's not really plastic. I'm not sure what this is, but you can kind of hear it is hollow, but it's actually a very thick material. I mean, you can press down on it and feel very nice quality for Darling Dolly's head. The hair looks super realistic, and then like I said, it does have the clothing for the weird neck that Dolly has, along with this black creepy cloth to cover it up a little bit, but this thing looks super awesome. Alright, and inside this box we have her mechanism and module, and this is our first look at it. So obviously, like I said before, Darling Dolly's animation is one of the main points of the animatronic, and you can kind of see how the mechanism is built for that. I will say this thing looks super interesting. This is not like any other, not even only Spirit Prop techie animatronic we've ever seen. I mean, look at everything going on there. I will say, you can probably hear that. This thing is nice. I mean, it's built very, very well. It's heavy. It looks very high quality. You can see a lot of things, like I said, going on here. The mechanism itself is this piece, I believe. All metal, some plastic for the mechanism, but the actual framing is all metal. This thing looks crazy. Alright, and finally we have the 2 pieces of Darling Dolly's base, because you do have to assemble this part. Alright, so here we are with all the pieces taken out of the box for Darling Dolly, and a couple of interesting things I did want to show that came out of this bag right here that had the instructions in them was, first of all, this piece. At first, I didn't know what this was, but then I noticed that there was a separate piece of paper right here that actually does have the techie logo on it, and it explains that this right here is a tool to help remove snap locks so that you can easily take apart pulls. And this is awesome because I know specifically with techie props, sometimes snap locks get stuck and it's really hard to get the pulls disassembled when you want to put an animatronic back in the box. Obviously, you can use it with every animatronic, but I am so glad to see something like this being made by Techie and having it included with Darling Dolly, because like I said, you just take it like this, press double against the snap lock, and it easily goes back in. So this is a very cool piece. They also included a small plastic part that looks like this, and you can use this to tie the wires together that come in from our control box so that they are a little bit less all over the place. So again, another very cool tool. But now that we have all the pieces taken out of the box, let's jump to the time lapse. Alright, so here she is, the Spirit Halloween 2023 Darling Dolly animatronic assembled in all of her glory. But before I give you my thoughts on her, let's take a look at the demos. Alright, so I just saw the demos for my Spirit Halloween 2023 Darling Dolly animatronic, and overall, I can definitely say that this animatronic lives up to the moniker of being one of the scariest animatronics we have ever received. I think every single detail about this prop contributes to it being so creepy. From the face to the general size, I mean, look at how big she is standing next to me, to the creepy fingers, to the cloth, to the animation. Everything about this prop makes it super scary, and I think that animation, like I just mentioned, is one of the best things for that. I have to admit, obviously, I've already seen this animatronic at the flagship store grand opening, at other stores, just a couple of different times now. However, when I turned her on for the first time, she actually did scare me because of how crazy that animation looks when you're standing really close to her. She leans down so much, and even if you have seen her in a Spirit location, once you get her home and actually turn her on for the first time, you see how crazy that animation is, and it really does shock you the first time. I love the animation. It is such a unique new mechanism for a techie animatronic, and I hope we see stuff similar to it next year and in the future, because it definitely fits a scary animatronic like Darling Dolly. Another thing I love about this animatronic are the overall colors that we're seeing and how she is very toned down in terms of the color scheme. I love the yellowy colors that we're seeing on the dress here and the stains that are at the bottom, as well as the very creepy ripped up clothing that's gray here at the top, the brown tree limbs, her arms, the black creepy cloth. I just love the color scheme because it almost makes her look like a monster you would see in the woods. And like I said in the beginning, you can really interpret Darling Dolly in a lot of different ways, but in my opinion, she almost looks like something that would be a cryptid coming out of the woods. Maybe what you're seeing behind me, coming out of there with the tree arms, the kind of ripped up clothing, and I think it very much benefits the character that we're seeing for Darling Dolly. Now, I will say that Darling Dolly has a very good quality to her. The mechanism specifically, like I showed before, is a very big piece, and it is made all out of metal, along with all her pulls like a techie prop normally is. So the quality is actually pretty good, and I think that makes her more worth that price tag of $279.99, 280 United States dollars. I think if you use a coupon on her, she is definitely worth that price tag. You can get her down to around 220, 230 bucks, and I think that is a great deal because as you can see, she's a very large prop. The animation is very drastic, and it has a lot to it with how much it kind of leans down. And then, like I said, that quality is also very good, so I would say she is worth a price tag if you use a coupon. But overall, Darling Dolly is a super creepy animatronic, and I am incredibly happy with her, and to be adding her to my collection, I would highly recommend her if you're doing some kind of creepy display, or if you just love creepy props. This one will definitely be one of these scariest that you own, because I mean, just take a look at her, a super scary prop, and Darling Dolly is for sure awesome. But I guess, remember as always, for everything scary, I'm GMHaunts. I was gonna for more Halloween 2023 animatronic unboxings. Goodbye.